Oh, good one. Oh, that's a big one, guys. That's a Lake Vernon toad. Oh, yeah, that's her. Whew, stay down, stay down. Oh, that's a good one. I'll reach in there and grab this fish. Oh, barely got it. Oh, there we go, guys.
YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Guys, today I have a really cool video for you. Just last week, I was shooting a TV show for Let's Fish TV on Vernon Lake. And let me just tell you guys, the fishing conditions were subpar at best. And we had to get this show done. And when you're dealing with really tough conditions, the bite can be weird and it can be extremely stressful. So let me just tell you, we figured it out. And we figured it out in a big way, but it was really paying attention to a couple key details that helped us put the fish in the boat. But hey, real fast, so if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that sub button. It would really help me out, and click that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a brand new video. So in this particular shoot, I was using a Thunder Cricket. You know, it's a vibrating jig. It happens to be one of my very favorite vibrating jigs I've ever used. Do I use other ones? Absolutely. But I really pick up the Thunder Cricket 9 times out of 10. And I'm going to tell you why. A couple reasons real quick. First off, I can reel it slower than most vibrating jigs, and it starts up faster. The other thing is, it's not as hard a knocking as some other vibrating jigs. It's a softer knock. And last but not least, it has a really big gaff hook to it. And I really, really like that part about it. That gaff hook is a really big deal, especially for what I was dealing with in this particular condition. So let me give you a breakdown. I was on Vernon Lake. The water was dirty. We had a big cold front moving the night before. The fish were up there trying to spawn. And let me tell you, that is a recipe for disaster most of the time. I was throwing my Thunder Cricket, and I'm going down the bank, and I catch fish, I catch another fish, and I'm kind of fishing off. And then I slide up a little shallower. And when I slid up a little shallower, I mean, I'm talking like my depth finder was reading like a foot deep. And I'm casting even shallower. So I'm probably sitting in a foot and a half, casting to 6 inches, 8 inches, stuff like that. And when you're in that particular situation, you have to pay attention to little bitty things. So when you're reeling that vibrating jig around like the Thunder Cricket, and that's one of my favorite baits for muddy, cold water, you know, in this particular situation when the fish are spawning, and you have to pay attention to every little thing that you feel. So basically what I would do is I'd cast my Thunder Cricket out there, and I'd hold my rod at about the 10 o'clock position. And I'm throwing a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel, and I'm reeling as slow as I can while keeping contact with the bottom. Now, some would say, man, you're going to get hung up. Stumps are everywhere. But when you're in 8 inches of water, 10 inches of water, a foot of water, if there's a stump there, like a big stump, you're going to see it. So you don't have to worry as much about hanging the bottom so much as you have to worry about what you feel. So now if you're in a rocky place, it kind of makes it a little more difficult. But when you're in a place that has a lot of dirt, sand, and like clay bottoms, you can really pay attention. So there was a lot of times when I'd be reeling that vibrating jig, that I'd be reeling, and I'd just feel something. It would be ever so slight, just kind of almost like a deflected off a rock or deflected off a piece of wood. And now an everyday guy, like going down the bank, like, man, oh, I just felt something, no big deal. And I cast down the bank further, and I just kept going. Well, over years of experience, what I've learned is when I get in that situation and I feel that thing, a lot of times I will power pole down, and I'll throw in there again. And this is a big key. You want to make the exact same cast that you just retrieved your bait on. So I'll make that exact same cast, and I'll be reeling that vibrating jig. If I don't hit it again, more times than not, that was a fish that came up there and nipped it. And then I will make cast after cast after cast. Well, at Vernon, I was dealing with the same thing. So what I believe was going on is all these fish were on beds in that 8 inches to a foot of water. And I'd reel that vibrating jig by them. They'd hit it, just kind of knocking it off their bed or run into it or whatever. And it would sometimes take me 5, 6, 7 casts, and I would catch that fish. Now, granted, sometimes they were little, sometimes they were good ones. But the moral of this story is that you have to pay attention at all times when fishing that dirty, shallow water, because at any time, anything that you feel could be a bass.
I mean, technically, if we catch us one more good, like, decent one, we'll roll with it. I think I had a bite right there. Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's got me over something. Oh, come out. Oh, dude, that can't. God, I thought he was about to be a really big one.
You can do this with more than just a vibrating jig. Sometimes it's a shallow run crankbait, a wake bait, things like that. Sometimes you have to pay really close attention. I would say you almost have to pay even more attention in shallower water than you do in deeper water. It's almost like when you reel like a thunder cricket past a fish that's on a bed, they react a little bit differently than if they were in 3 to 4 foot of water. So you have to pay attention to the little minute details. Don't be afraid to power pole down or stop your boat, anchor, whatever you have to do, and keep making the same cast, even if it takes you 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 casts to figure out what's there. You'll know real fast if you hit something, because if you throw it in there and you hit the exact same thing at the exact same spot, more times than not, maybe it was a limb, maybe it was a rock, maybe it was a root from a tree. But if you pay attention, you can get a lot more bites. I remember doing it with a square bill a lot of times. Even a swim bait. You'll see it a lot of times throwing a swim bait up there, especially if the water's a little dirtier, you won't be able to see, and you kind of feel something. You're like, man, maybe that was a fish. Keep casting in there, and you'll be surprised. Now, gear is extremely important when I'm throwing a vibrating jig, and I finally found my favorite new vibrating jig rod, and that is the Bladed Jig Thunder Cricket rod. It's a signature series. It's a 7.3. So if you've watched my channel for long, you know one of my favorite my favorite rods for a Thunder Cricket vibrating jig, lipless crankbait, has always been the 7.3 Magnum Hammer, which is our Team Lou's custom pro rod. This one's a 7.3. Now I'm going to tell you, this one's a little bit stiffer. But with the size hook that we have on this Thunder Cricket, I really, really like it. It makes the bite even better. I can set the hook a little bit harder, and I don't have to worry about, I stick them perfect, and that's the main thing. 17-pound line, especially when I'm in 1 foot or less. Sometimes I'll even go to 20. The big key here is you want the bigger line because it's going to help keep your bait up. A 3/8 ounce Thunder Cricket and a crawl style trailer. So whether it be a baby rage crawl, a rage crawl, a menace, but rigged it horizontal. So you want it flat with the water. Okay, so just like you would rig a normal jig trailer. What this is going to do is it's going to let the Thunder Cricket run flat. And if it does run into something, it won't roll over. If you use a skinny trailer like I have on here, this has a tendency to roll more when you hit a piece of cover, so you'll hang up more. If you use that flat trailer, you won't hang up as much. When you hit something, it'll just deflect and stay in the same track, and that is extremely important. So next time you're on the water and you get in that really post-frontal condition and you know those fish are up shallow, pay really close attention, and you'll be able to add a few more fish in the boat. But really, guys, I really do appreciate all of your support. I hope y'all learned a little bit about how to recast and repeat that cast to catch more bass. I'll see you on the next one.